and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all the little watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back, yes indeed, we're here. We got so much stuff to cover in a small amount of time. We're here to do it all with you on the best show in the world. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for listening. We got Teofimo Lopez potentially in the heat of one of the biggest dramas happening in the sports world, in the boxing world today, with Keyshawn Davis getting a racist package in the lead up to his fight with Usyk. I believe I'm saying his name correctly. Shocking everybody, having us all asking questions that honestly we don't need to be asking, but now we have to. Was he the man behind this plan to actually send dissension into the camp and into the whole fight buildup of that fight, as well as we have now recently received news that Usyk is indeed retiring. That's right. One of the best fighters of this generation is officially about to be out of here with 2 fights left on his, or at least in his mind, on his docket. Who are those fights going to be? How will we see his career wrap up? And where are we going to rank this man when it's all said and done? And the generations are starting to come to an end. This era is starting to come to a close right before our very eyes, and what this means to the grander scheme of the landscape of boxing as a whole. And we got so much more, like with Gervonta Davis potentially rethinking his retirement plans for his career, and much more on this show. So thank you for tuning in and thank you for listening. If you would, go on and comment and chat your thoughts and opinions, your debates, whatever you want to discuss on right here, and I can bring it up right here in the chat for anybody to see, read, and enjoy. This show is as much mine as it is yours. We'll go through the ebbs and flows of the show depending on how you all make this show to be. Oh yes indeed, we can pivot any which way, we can deviate, don't matter. We all about having a good time and being here to help everybody grow in this sport, absolutely. And don't forget also, we also have the championship rounds. That's right. Whatever you want to discuss and talk about at the end of the show, you can talk about it right here on the show, and leave your chats in the leave your chats in the chat. And we can break it down in the last hour 30 of the show. Whatever you want to discuss, we can make this all your own. Absolutely. All that and more on this show is what we're going to be talking about. We have such a jam-packed episode for you today. And also remember, we're available on the podcasting platform, Apple, Spotify, not Google Podcasts. I don't think they're doing that anymore, but whatever the case may be, you can find us anywhere and everywhere. Rate us 5 stars, share us with everybody that you know, leave a like on the stream, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together as we go quickly turning into one of the best media outlets in all the globe. Yeah, we're small, but we're mighty, and we're getting better and better as the days go by. With all that being said, we got a show to cover. We got a show to do. We got boxing to talk about first and foremost. And since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. That's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round 1 of this show going underway as we have to discuss again with everything going around in the world of boxing. Specifically, one of the biggest things that have taken the forefront of the news is the fact that Keyshawn Davis and Usyk have hit essentially a roadblock in their entire buildup that's looking to be a very racial tension divide between the two, because Keyshawn Davis got a racist package of a box of watermelon and banana and a note essentially all deeming to, or all showing to be, hey, this was from Usyk's team. This was from his squad, try to goad Keyshawn or get under his skin in a very negative light. And this has us all asking, how did this happen? Why is this indeed the case? What the world transpired that even caused this to occur? To a degree, it seemed almost out of character, especially under the likes of Usyk's promoter, who was the same promoter as Usyk. And so for this to happen under his watch, it's a shock to us all. But later on in the night, my goodness, we didn't see, or not even in the night, in the day, we didn't see the likes of Teofimo Lopez post a video, post a legitimate, maybe potentially incriminating of a type of evidence on himself that he may be the man to mastermind this entire plan. Now, why is that the case? Well, let me show you right now as we go to the telltale, which gears into, hey, the evidence at hand. Yes, indeed. Take a look and see for yourself.
This guy came to America to give me bananas and watermelon with a note on it. It's unprofessional, and I feel like it's racist, and you just made this fight a little more personal. Take that a step further, Keyshawn, just so...
Hey, look, I'm telling you, you see this? Do you see this? All of a sudden, we're now looking at this whole situation in a completely different light, in a completely different perspective. Now, I'm not the one, excuse me real quick as I adjust my camera really quickly. Want to give y'all a, you don't want to be too far back, too far close. I had everything set up right, but hey, look, I'm not trying. I'm not a person. I don't do, you know me. If you tune in, you know me. I don't do conspiracy theories. I don't try to just buy into everything. I do my due diligence. Everything about this seemed odd and strange. And initially, yes, there was an inkling of, was this an inside job? Was this a situation where Keyshawn and his own team put that in his room to get the masses talking about the fight? Was this a situation to potentially draw up interest to make him undeniable, and then when he does potentially get the inevitable knockout on Usyk, now he, in this whole drama show, puts him in the front lines of the likes of Gervonta Davis. After Lamont Roach's fight, he will call him out, and now he gets exactly the fight he's been asking for over a year and a half. That was what crossed my mind initially, but now with this video, with this legitimate, essentially dubious, I mean, this is some Lex Luthor. This is some Lex Luthor. Look at this. Look at it. Make sure. Look. Am I looking the right way? Yeah, I'm looking the right way. Look, this is kind of like, why? And the more I'm thinking about it, potentially, maybe it was Tio. Now, he could just be grifting. He could just be going through, but maybe it was Tio that actually sent all of this. Again, right now, we're all just speculating. We're all trying to figure out what indeed is the case. What I do know is that under the watch, let me make sure, let me look it up to make sure I got the names correct when we talk about who exactly is involved in this. But from what I know about who is involved on the team of Usyk and the fact that, where's that? How do you spell it? Come on now. And the fact that the man who is under, or the man managing Usyk is in fact the same dude who managed the likes of Usyk, which is, let me pull up his name real quick. Where's it? What's this brother's name? Yeah, Igis Klimas. Understanding how he's been operating his entire career, especially under the watch, under over the career of the likes of Usyk and others, been very respectful, been very much on the up and up when it comes to the world of boxing and everything that's been going on in their lives and how he's been interacting with people in and outside of the sport. This seems kind of odd. And even in the grand scheme of being with the likes of Usyk, who is an eccentric character, who is somebody who will put on a show, who he's not afraid to get in your face. He will talk smack, yes, but to this degree, this seems like something that's very much out of pocket. So I'm like, and with Tio putting out this video, makes me ask the question seriously. Was this Tio putting, essentially planting seeds of discourse? And if so, why would he do this in the first place? Now, I have my own opinions, and I'll get to that, but let's see what you all have to say on the show today. Let's see. Jay Riggs, how you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Absolutely, what you got to say on the matter. I'm sorry, but I believe that was an inside job to get more hype and attention to it, and if it was at his doorstep, show the video who dropped it off, but T.O. be trolling is the, no, see, that's the thing. T.O. do be trolling. T.O. do be acting a fool. He do be acting the mess. I have no question about that. And yes, one of the biggest questions about this is, where was the hotel footage? Again, this was everybody was in the hotel at the time of this whole debacle. Keyshawn Davis said this was sent to his room. Now, if it was the case, then wouldn't it be a situation where there would be some footage? Top Rank has already sent out their own message about this saying they stand with Keyshawn Davis. They're stark against this type of messaging in any way, shape, or form. This is very concerning. Cool, the sentiment's great. Love it that that's your stance. But is there going to be an investigation done? Is there something that's going to be pushed to make this actually, get to the bottom of this? Because we got a whole different side of stuff. Again, it doesn't make sense from the Lance standpoint of Klimas, how he's been operating his entire career. It doesn't make sense from the standpoint of Bianchik, because even with his eccentric nature, he's never done something like this. He's trolled, but it's never been to this degree. It's always been the standpoint of, I'm better than you, or you're a punk, but never in any way, shape, or form. With this, he's insulted the people, but never gone low like this. And T.O., the only body we've been talking about, remember, let's not forget. We talked about this before. We just got on T.O. We were just talking about T.O. earlier this month with the whole situation where any monkey can grab the banana. Anybody can come get it. And in reference to Tank Davis, in reference to Terrence Crawford, there was another brother that he was talking about he wanted to fight. And it's like, we were talking and saying, why are you going about this way? Referring and using racial rhetoric as the means to go and make and draw interest for the fight. We have already covered and understand that this is indeed a part of the game. This is indeed a facet of the situation that we know this is a reality. That the sport is used for history. We went through the history of this sport from Jack Johnson all the way down to today. Racial undertones and overtones have been used to sell fights by the public. The Great White Hope versus the barrier-breaking black guy. We've seen this. We know this. History has continued to show this. But with all that being said, with T.O., we completely denounced it, and we're like, you don't need to do that anymore. You shouldn't have to. You're as entertaining by yourself that you can sell the fights on your own. Your promoters you should be putting pressure on your own promoters to make it so that you get your respective attention, because that's their job. But going it through this way is completely and utterly stupid. And it makes you look bad. And now with this Lex Luthor evil type mastermind type of plan that looks to be on Boots. Thank you, Jay Riggs. You're right. Boots was the other brother that he was looking to call out. You're absolutely right. But all of this was an issue. We said you're making more enemies. You're causing a reputation for yourself that's really going to hurt you in the long run. It's going to put a target on your back, not just from fighters, but from fans. And it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. And now, with this, I mean, like, I'm at a loss again. With this, as you're essentially almost self-incrimination, it makes us really beg the question, sir, did you really stoop this low to go about getting attention for yourself? Is this really what you want to do and what you aim to do? It really boggles my mind. It really gets me confused. And I'm like, again, Jay Riggs, T.O. trolling, Keyshawn team jumped his dad in the gym over racism comments before, so his beef is there. That did happen. You're absolutely right. If I remember correctly, I don't believe T.O. did anything in the midst of the jumping. So I'm not getting into the ins and outs details of what should and shouldn't be done. But what I am saying is that if you got beef with it, there's no problem if you got beef. Absolutely. But the issue is, handle it like you know you can handle it. Make the fight undeniable by going out and consistently egging it on. There's many ways to go about and get your get back for what's been done to you. Absolutely. But this is, shoot, man. I'm sorry. This isn't what we want to discuss. We want to discuss the fight. We want to discuss whether or not Bjornchik, if he does get knocked out by Keyshawn Davis, what's next for his career? With Keyshawn Davis specifically, if he knocks him out in dominant fashion, what this means for Keyshawn in the likelihood of being the next opponent for the likes of Tank Davis. Even with the likes of Teofimo Lopez, if he doesn't get the Tank fight, this will be a great situation. Hey, Keyshawn, if you move up to 140, with the power that we know that you have, hey, we would love to see that fight just off the basis of you now look like a real threat. And with this backlog of history already within you two, hey, make it happen. It shouldn't take much. But now, shoot, man, I'm genuinely concerned with this type of turn that we're seeing Teofimo Lopez go through. We were just talking, again, let's go through the history. He was one of the hottest prospects in boxing, knocking people out left, right, and center. Had knocked, was it Rickendale that he put on the canvas? And one of the better knockouts and one of the better wins of his entire career that stopped that buddy in his tracks, had him doing front flips. I believe it was Rickendale that he did. That he beat like that. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I got my, yeah. I believe it. It had to be. Richard Rickendale. Was it not him? Shoot, what was that? I can't remember. If somebody has it at in their front memory, I'm thinking too fast for my own good. Let me slow down a little bit. I believe it was Rickendale that he knocked out and put and had front flip because of that power. Had been looking to be one of the better dominant champions. Beat Lomachenko. Was looking to take over the world. The takeover had begun. Everybody was high on that brother. Wanted to see what he could do. Then struggled against Sandor Martin. Then struggled against another brother. Was asking if he still got it. Had his doubts. And then seemingly got back on track. Beat Josh Taylor. Went and dominated Claggett. Didn't knock him out, but he dominated him. We were looking and saying we can't wait to see the resurgence of this dude. And this is a lot of this stuff is after the loss to the likes of George Kambosos. That was actually the Kambosos loss was kind of the start of the oh my gosh what's going on with Tia. But then he got it back right. And now we're going into this level of, I can't even say trolling, because now this is going into territory that brother he don't need to be messing with. This can backfire immensely on his career. Because this ain't just affecting him. This is affecting the look of Top Rank. This is affecting the look of his promoters. This is affecting the look of his own, dare I say, of his own family. And I don't say that as a means to be, dousing on this hate. No. Really. In all actuality, this is very much a concerning situation. This is very much the drop-off of what T.O. has and is, or has been turning into. Personally. Now it's bleeding into a very volatile situation outside of the ring. That's putting a target on his back for a lot of people to look at this man and say, not only are you losing fans, but the haters that you're garnering will potentially look to try to sabotage your career. As is. That's not hyperbole. That's legitimate. That's real. That's real. That's not me trying just to put some scare tactic. No. That's real. That is a actual legitimate concern that we have. And now, here's the question. Really, let's be frank. Here's the real question with all of this. Where is this going to get him? Where is this going to get him? Because you have to understand, all of this trolling, all of this racism, all of this stuff that he's doing, it is with the notion in mind to get a mega fight, to get a mega deal, to get, because mind you, he ain't staying active. He ain't fighting consistently. We see that brother more out and about than we do even in training. Not saying that he doesn't train, but from the start standpoint of what it used to be with the social media, what it used to be when keeping up with T.O., what it used to be when keeping up with how he was going about his career. Now, it looks completely different. More outside the ring standpoint. He was just on the Boxing Voice, I believe Twitter Spaces. And when he was confronted with this directly, Butler gave vague answers all night long. Was genuinely just playing Kendrick Lamar music and not only going and doing doing nothing. Not even skirting around the answer. We're just saying y'all ain't ready for the takeover. So the only thing we can assume is that he was the one that did this. When he was confronted directly, the brother being as vague as can be, almost not answering at all, and indeed going about and out of his way to make this really look like he was the one behind it. And now we have to ask if this is exactly where we're looking in this standpoint for his career trajectory. From the standpoint of this is what he's doing to get a big fight. If it does not work out, what now? Because you're not staying active. You're not getting in the ring, even with people that are just, even though they're slightly below you, just to get something. The brother only wants to fight in big time affairs. We get it. It's prize fighting. But how many times have we seen the brother? He's got how many fights does Steel have in his career as a whole? I think it's less than 20. Or it's right at 20. If I got my stuff correctly. Oh yeah, so he's had 22 fights in his career. Just about. Also, Rusty Cage, what's up with this? How you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show yet again on this Thursday afternoon. I told you we gonna start on the right time. I told you all got here at about between that 12:15 time. So yeah, we here, we back, we got consistency on our side. But thank you for tuning in. But right now we're looking at the whole standpoint of, is this all going to be worth it from the standpoint of Teofimo Lopez? When we talk about this potentially, him being the one behind this whole racist road to get a mega fight with any of the big stars. Specifically, let's be perfectly honest, specifically with any of the black stars in boxing. Because that's what his whole campaign of recent has been about. From the monkey, any monkey can grab the banana, when referring to Tank, Boots, and Terrence Crawford, to now grifting with this type of potentially self-incriminating evidence of him being the one who sent the box of watermelon and bananas to Keyshawn Davis' hotel room. Again, we don't know, nothing's confirmed. We understand it. But we're saying he's putting himself as almost the forefront of the culprit. Even if it's not true, he wants to have that ire on him, to have a level of attention to get a mega fight in some way, shape, or form with some big star. All of this is to get somebody to give him a fight that he wants. If this does not happen, what then transpires? Now you've ruined your reputation. You've ruined your cachet. You've tanked your ability to be a wanted attraction, at least to some degree. Even with somebody as good as Teofimo Lopez is, we know his talent is incredible, no question. But this is driving more people away than it is bringing more people to want to see him fight. And the brother doesn't fight a lot anymore. Floyd Schofield's got more fights than him at this point. And he's been, and ever since, last fight was Steve Claggett, Jermaine Ortiz, and Josh Taylor. Now, he had 2 fights in 2024, but his last fight was on the 6th. Or, excuse me, January, February, March, April, May, June. His last fight was June of last year with no manner of activity at all. None. Nothing whatsoever. To a degree, the excitement around him was potentially facing off against the likes of a Ryan Garcia, of a Devin Haney. with him being a champion, but even still, this can potentially backfire. And it makes no sense as to why this happened. Because you have so many people at your own immediate disposal within your weight class that are still highly touted that we would love to see you fight. Love to see you fight. Hitchens, unify with Hitchens. Get that done before May. You beat him, you knock him out. I don't think that highly of Hitchens as a boxer when it comes compared to you. Go through that route. And you don't need nothing but I want the belt, I'm better than you. You can't do nothing with me. You can definitely talk up a fight and then boom. Make it happen. Now, everybody gets what they want. You get a belt, you get paid. Hitchens gets the biggest stage of his career. He gets knocked out. Everything's all hunky-dory. You could even go against the likes of Subriel Matias. Lost the belt to Liam Poirot. Give him another shot at another title. You go and you knock him out. Next thing you know, bing, bang, boom. Now you are even more adept as a killer in the eyes of everybody. If you knock out Subriel Matias, because we know what type of monster he is. Again, defensively, he isn't great. Offensively, he's a monster. Now you go and you beat him up and break him down and you knock him out. That's, hey, adds to your own cachet. Go on the road to undisputed. You could do that route. Go fight Liam Poirot. I believe, unless he's already got a fight already. But he would still target him. There's a bunch of stuff you could have done that isn't this. And this, ooh, it's bad. And yet, he's playing the heel. He's playing the villain. He is playing, excuse me, he's trying to get something off the stand real quick. But no, he's playing the villain, absolutely. He's playing the trying to goad everybody into saying we want to see you beat. Yes, he's doing all of that. Absolutely. But the problem is he's doing all of this and no fights are being made. He's doing all of this and he's not on anybody's radar. He's doing all of this and nobody's paying attention. You want to say, well, maybe Tank's paying attention? We don't know what Tank's going to do. We don't know who's the world's Tank's going to call out. We want it to be T.O. We're hoping it's T.O. It makes sense if it's T.O. He said, oh yeah, we wanted to beat that brother up, but based on the track record he's been facing off against, or that he's been doing rather, for his entire career when it comes to taking on opposition, especially as recently, there's nothing to give us confidence to say, oh yeah, Tank's going to call him out. He's going to end all this. Because that brother may not call him out at all. We're all more likely to see this brother call out another 135-pounder that really doesn't have any business being in the ring. That's the standpoint that we as fans are looking at right now. You understand? We would be surprised if Tank called out Tio. Pleasantly surprised, but surprised nonetheless because of what he's been doing, which is nowhere close to fighting competition at or above his skill level. Of recent, we've talked about this multiple times. And since that's the case, calling out Tio would be a shock. But the fact that him calling out Tio would be a shock is the very nature as to why many people don't feel it's going to happen. Terrence Crawford is not even looking in your vicinity because he's got Canelo in his front view, signed now, officially on the dotted line. That fight's going to happen. And unless you move up to 154, you ain't getting a fight with Crawford in the slightest. There's no way. He's not even, he's looked past you. He's eclipsed you 10 times over. Boots Ennis, would love to see him fight Boots Ennis. But you know what you could do? Call out Boots directly. You know what you could do? Say, all right, I will be adamant. I will move up to 147. Give me a shot at your title. I'm the best at 150. I'm the best at 140. You right now are the best at 147. Let's make this happen. I'll fight for your belt. Whether it's a catch weight, no matter what. You know, say it don't matter. Say you'll fight him at 154. Hype up the fight with all the cockiness that we know that you have. That's what you can do. But It's not working. You've been ignored. You've been avoided. You not even avoided. You're doing all this stuff, and everybody is more so, they're not even concerned about who's going to shut this guy up. They're more concerned about, yo, what's going on with you? Specifically you. This is like, brother, I mean, talk about a fall from grace. And I was rooting for this brother to legitimately go and make himself better, to continue to elevate and improve, to continue to get the big fights and be successful. I wanted to see, but now he's making me incredibly difficult to garner support for him because of this stuff. Because again, I'm black. Even if you weren't the one that sent it, the very fact that you're the one mocking, laughing, and perpetuating that, yeah, this is you. And making like it's a dangerous game, man. It's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. And now you got people going at you, going at your family, dragging you through social media about why your personal life is the way it is because of how you are. Using your kids as a legitimate means to attack you. This is fans and haters alike are all doing that. This is a problem. You are creating we've seen people play the villain before in boxing. Chael Sonnen, perfect example, played the villain in the world of the UFC. Absolutely. We absolutely. Antonio Margarito, but many and others in Volley Romero. In the modern day, Volley Romero. There's been plenty of people that have played the villain in the sport of boxing, but at the same time, where there was a line that they crossed that turned them from, oh, he's just a heel, to now, oh, he is despised. Some people, they got out of it, like Chael Sonnen. But some people, that's who they were. It became them. Like Antonio Margarito. Like, what's his name? The brother who went at Sugar Shane Mosley. Slapped Mosley's wife on the butt and did a bunch of other stuff. That was like, oh my gosh, oh, this is him. This ain't a character. This is actually who he is. The character has to become who he is as a person. I can't remember his name for the life of me. But forever he's remembered as a legitimately horrible person. Beyond just him as a boxer. And it became inseparable. This is what we're seeing Tio go down the road of. And it's a very tight rope. It is a very incredibly tight rope that we're seeing him walk. And if it doesn't work out, oh boy. Oh, this confused. Here we go. Mayorga, that's what it was. Mayorga, thank you. And thank you. Mayorga, that's what it was. That's what I was thinking of. I'm so sorry. Normally I'm clicking. Normally I'm clicking with the names, clicking with the history. I don't know why I'm struggling today. My goodness. My gosh. But regardless of which, it's hard. It's like, the last thing I'll say on it, and we'll move on because we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. Let's say hypothetically he does get this fight. Let's say hypothetically he does indeed get the fights that he wants. He gets Boots. Or he gets Tank. Or he gets Keyshawn Davis. Now that's looking like, hey, he's trying to get that fight at his disposal. If he loses after all this, it won't just be what the fans want, what the public will want. If he loses in terrible fashion, the very stardom that we thought this man could reach might just fizzle out. Wholeheartedly. Because you gotta understand, this brother, even after the Kambosos loss, he was still looked at as, okay, let's see him come back. We want to see this good kid still make something of himself. And especially after all the medical history and all that stuff, could have died in the ring with any punch. Could have killed him because there was air under his lungs. I believe that was a diagnosis. And he was able to recover. Had a bad fight with Sandor Martin, was able to recover. In my opinion, lost that fight to Sandor Martin and still was given another chance. But now, with this, that's because he was more so a potential star and a budding darling. Somebody that was, hey, this man's got the skill set and the charisma and is liked by a lot of people. Now, if you are T.O. at this stage in your career and you lose this fight, any other, whether it's Keyshawn or Boots or Tank, those are most likely the three that's going to happen. Maybe Keyshawn's more likely than anything else. But if you lose to him, if that fight does take place, you are done. You're done. Like, you're done. I'm so serious. You're done. You're done. Because now, it's not just the chances that were given to you consistently, but now the public, they saw you get beat up, they saw you lose, and now they've lost all interest in who you are. Because they no longer want to support who you are. And I'm telling you, then you'll fall down the same path potentially of the likes of Rolly Romero now, whose mouth was only able to sell him but so much. In your case, your talent could have taken you to the world. Unlike with Rolly Romero. And you had it, you honed it, you did all that stuff. We were talking about you training with Eddie Reynoso. Phenomenal. Love to see what you can do. But now, oh gosh, you lose this fight. If you get this fight with Keyshawn Davis or Tank, and you get obliterated, talk about a hit that you may not be able to recover from what you are in your career. It's concerning. Really is concerning. We're going to have to wait and see what happens from there. But again, we still got more to cover on this show, on today's docket. Please be sure, if you would, sorry, I had to take a drink there, but be sure, if you would, to go on, keep on commenting, keep on chatting, like the stream if you are here, and share with everybody that you know so we can keep on pushing the algorithm and building up this empire of an entire incredible community that we already have together. But with this being said, now moving on to the other topics in the show or in the world of boxing, like with Usyk, who just recently announced this man's retirement. That's right. Usyk's getting ready to get out of here. Usyk, right now, the baddest man on the planet, the best heavyweight in the world, and one of the top 10, potentially top 25 to top 10 heavyweights in history. Top 25 is not even a question. Top 10 is where the debate's really being had. Now this brother's getting ready to call it quits. He's getting ready to retire. He has said himself, he's got 2 fights left on his resume, or on his docket. And then he's calling it done. One fight that will guarantee to happen, he will fight the winner of Dubois versus Parker. No question, that is going to transpire. But after that, the world doesn't know where this is going to go. And it's a real, I don't want to call it a shock. Because the brother's almost 40 years old. He's been boxing literally all his life. And we keep seeing people like Arizona. We keep seeing people like Lara. We keep seeing people like Bud Crawford, Artur Beterbiev, Usyk, all still being able to be dominant at an advanced age. Champions, best in their division, or one of the best in their division, and beating Father Time seemingly. I think we forget that this is a situation where these brothers are old. By every other metric normally, we see boxers at this age out the sport. Done. Finito. They're at the end and they're already gone. It's an incredible anomaly that we're seeing with the amount of people able to fight at a high level. But it's still, Father Time beats no one. Father Time beats nearly everybody. The only man that he hasn't beat potentially is LeBron. Genuinely. And now, we're seeing the end of an era. We're seeing the end of, this is one of the biggest instances of the end of an era in boxing. For real. This is what we see now, that with Usyk retired, there is a genuine look at the landscape, not just of the heavyweight division, but of boxing as a whole, that puts a kind of a sort of mortality on what we are experiencing right now with the best of the best. And we're looking at it and saying, hey, let's get time is winding up. And yeah, Teofimo was a villain. And see, now we got people coming through now. Yeah, Teofimo, he's a villain. He's a villain. He absolutely is a villain. And we just covered. We just got off the topic of Teofimo Lopez, and if you're new here, how you doing? Glad to see you. Looking raw. What's up with you? Glad that you tuned in to the show. Absolutely. If this is your first time, welcome to the Welch Report. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 o'clock on average. At 12 o'clock on average. And we're here to cover the world of boxing, basketball, and beyond. And we just got off of the topic of Teofimo Lopez. And Teo, yeah, he's playing the villain. He is a villain. But it's looking to be that this is a persona that is more than just a persona. Potentially, it's going to push away supporters that wanted to see him succeed. And if this does indeed backfire, if he does get one of these big fights and lose, brother, all of this now is really going to hurt his career. Because it's going to be, we don't like you. We don't like your racist butt. And now you got beat. We've seen everything that we wanted. You can get out the sport now. We don't care. He tried to call, and he's not even getting the attention from people that he wants to get. Specifically the names that he's looking to get in the ring with. He's not getting it. He got some attention from Tank. But like we said earlier, Tank calling him out is we don't know. That's up in the air. We don't know who the world is going to call out. We will be shocked if he calls out the likes of Teofimo Lopez. Terrence Crawford is not even looking in his direction. I don't even think Keyshawn Davis was looking in his direction at this point in time. He was more so focused on getting Tank Davis. Hadn't even thought about Teofimo Lopez as the main marker in his career. And now, with all this going in play, Boots Ennis, you could have called him out, but now Boots is looking to potentially fight after 147 to 154. So we're looking and we're saying there's so many different things that you are trying to get attention, and everybody else is looking elsewhere. If this is the means to get it, it's everybody just looking at you crazy. And if you lose, oh boy, it's gonna be pop. It's gonna be absolute pop. New York is known for petty jokes. It's funny though. Y'all Southerners going, hold on. Now time out. We take everything in its proper context on this show, and as best as we can, try to stay informed. Now, we on this channel don't stand for any racist rhetoric of any kind. No, we don't. That's just not what we do here. And when it comes to the wide array of boxing as a whole, we've covered the history, like I said earlier on this show, on past show. We covered the history of racial prejudice and racial uses in the sport of boxing to sell fights. It's part of the game. Teofimo Lopez even talked about it earlier in, I believe, this month or last month. And we talked about it on this show. He even said, I'm just doing what they do all the time and playing the game to get the fights that we want. And now we're looking and we're saying, if that is the case, that's just because it is the game doesn't mean that you have to take part in the game. And you, as a minority, understanding the game and how it's normally used against you. This is not a situation where you should be partaking in that same level of play, especially when you have the ability with your own charisma to sell fights on your own. And your talent speaks for itself. You're entertaining in the ring. You can be entertaining out the ring without all of this stuff. Specifically, as a minority, this is something like you know what this feels like. You know what it does to your psyche. You know how disrespectful it is. One of the most ultimate forms of disrespect, and yet you are perpetuating that. You are using that same card. It's like it's a problem. And again, look. Bernard Hopkins stepped on the Puerto Rican flag, and no outrage from the Latinos because they know it was just promotion. Again, I'm not here to judge who or say who what or who. Excuse me. Let me rephrase it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me not get tongue tied. I'm not here to dictate or say how a portion of people should respond because I'm not them. The only community I know and I'm a part of is the African American and Black community. I can speak for that because that's what I'm a part of. But how others react, I don't get into that because I'm not trying. I'm not trying to police, but I am simply saying that even when you saw the likes of Bernard Hopkins do it, wrong then, wrong now. If they knew just promotion, it still didn't mean that he needed to do it. Bernard Hopkins, he could talk the mess out of people. And he was entertaining inside of it. Again, he didn't need it. I'm always going to say, you don't need that. You don't need that. You don't. Like I said, we understand the game is the game. You don't need to play the game, especially with who you are as a boxer and fighter. You don't. You don't need to play that same type of card to get what you want. Shannon Briggs, if the deal didn't fall through, Shannon Briggs, by just nagging Klitschko, nearly got the fight that he wanted. Little negotiations fell apart, but he got to the table because he made the fight as much as many people may have thought that Klitschko would have destroyed him, and Klitschko tried to ignore him. He still went and made the fight one of the best build-ups in the history of the sport. The very clips of him going to meet Klitschko at various different locations, just popping up out of nowhere like a stinking Looney Tunes character, constantly showing up when he was eating, when he was boating, when he was sleeping, when he was at the beach. Didn't matter what he was doing. He would show up in his own gym. Didn't matter. The build-up to that fight made that one of the more anticipated fights of that year. And to this day, people still look back on that build-up and on all of those clips and videos as, my gosh, what the world. Insane. I wish that fight did happen. And to what I understand and watching all of this, I don't believe there was any racial undertones involved. It was just, let's go, champ. Stop avoiding me. What you scared of? I'm going to be on you like white on rice. I'm going to never leave you. Whether you're swimming or sleeping, I'm right here. I'm right there. So I'm saying you don't need that. I'm not judging how people should react to it because they're going to react, but you don't need that as a means to make the fight. The fight. There's plenty of other ways. And especially, again, I'm saying this for anybody. I don't care if it's Bernard Hopkins. I had a problem with when Anthony Durrell said, I'm not going to let no white boy beat me. Y'all remember that? When he said that to Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant knocked his butt out in the knockout of the year? A left hook that we didn't think Caleb Plant had in his arsenal. Next thing you know, he puts that brother out, sleeping, snoring, gasping for air unconsciously. Dug a grave above him. We all remember that knockout, do we not? Oh, I know we do. I know we do. I know we do. And you don't need it. But when Anthony Durrell talked about it, it was like, you don't need to say that, regardless of what race you are. You can sell the fight by yourself without the need of using that type of rhetoric. Because it further promotes division, further promotes the divide, and it further promotes unnecessary animosity. Beyond just, I want to beat you. Beyond just, I'm better than you. David Morrell and David Benavidez was a phenomenal buildup, and it was great. And it was just, I don't like you, I'm gonna beat you, and you are not on my level. Everybody was excited for that fight. We've seen countless situations. Again, I'm not trying to be some preaching to the choir. I'm not trying to be some policing stuff. No. But I can't deny that there is a point in time where we understand that this is wrong. And we understand that this is like, there's a lot. And Teal's feeding into that line and crossing that line willingly of his own accord. And just because it's the game doesn't mean that it needs to be your game. That's the thing. That's just how I feel about it personally. But again, let's see what people have to say in the chat. Hey, yo, Justin Kim, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad to get you in to the show. What's going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. Freeze Temp, what's up again? Glad that you came back to the show with me on the Watch Report right here in John Luke Watch. And so, and again, Rusty Cage, people praise Muhammad Ali, who called Frazier a monkey all the time. No, we've talked about this too. You may not have been here, but we talked about this as well. And I learned about this when I was in college during the 50th anniversary of the Ali Frazier. Ali made Frazier look like the villain. Ali called him a monkey, not even a monkey. He called him a gorilla. And he used the same racial caricatures to vilify the likes of Joe Frazier. And Joe Frazier was a family man. Joe Frazier was somebody who went to church. The brother could sing, like legitimately could sing, was good in the community, was doing everything that you would want, was an upstanding heavyweight champion. Genuine. No qualms at all. Nothing, everything, like he was great. And he was a dog. He was a dog in the ring. He was a dog outside the ring, but as a person, he was incredible. He got vilified by Ali. He got seen as the villain, the enemy. He got seen as legitimately the monkey, the gorilla. That's what fans were turning on him as in that fight, in the build-up to that fight. Oh, they despise him. It shouldn't have been that case either. Was he building up the fight? Absolutely. No question about it. No question about it. But guess what? When we think of that whole rivalry, and listen closely when I say this, when we think of that whole rivalry with Frazier and Ali, we think of all the buildup. We think of all. We love the animosity, the fighting inside the studio with Howard Cosell, the constant drawing back and forth. We do, and we forget that was said. And it's because if that was never said by Ali, that would still be the greatest heavyweight trilogy in history. That would still be one of the greatest boxing trilogies that boxing has in history. That would still be a match made in heaven that we would talk about to the end of time. And I knew that all, and I never knew that Ali was saying that about Joe Frazier. I just knew it was trash talk from both ends. And I knew it was incredible. And I knew everybody was excited. And I knew it paid off to be more. It lived beyond what the hype was supposed to be for the fight. And I didn't know anything about what Ali was saying in that respect. And when I learned about it, guess what? I was taken aback. I was like, my gosh. Not the Ali that I know. Not the Ali that's been a civil rights activist. The cornerstone of this sport. An icon of icons, a man that Mike Tyson cries about when he talks about, reverence undeniable, the man who inspired the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, the man who took up from his own experience from Sugar Ray Robinson. That's where Ali got his fighting style from, Sugar Ray. The man who's been a beacon of black excellence, period, hope, unity, the true best of humanity. He said that. Oh, I was, shoot, my gosh. I couldn't believe it. But that's the reality. And what did he do? He played the game. He played the game. And so it's like, and again, there are more historians that can go in even more detail or not about the life and the personality and the opinions of Ali. Just strictly off of everything that I knew about Ali, it was wow. I mean, it was really wow. But even still, it was like you even if it was Ali talking in jest, as we knew Ali talked, as we knew, arguably the best talker that we've seen in boxing history. Even if it's just, he didn't mean, it wasn't anything malice behind it. It was just used to help, again, promote the fight. Even if that was the case. Now, I'm not putting out a question. That may have just been him. Because now we're thinking more about it. He did call a lot of people, monkeys and gorillas. Like I think he called Foreman that as well. But we're saying it's just, even knowing that, or if that was, even with that being the case, we'll say hypothetically if that's the case, it's still like, what that does. Using that, especially against a black person, as a black man, it's like, ooh, really, I'm not trying to vilify Ali. I'm saying, like, this is like, it's in this situation. This is poignant and bleeding in. This is with the likes of T.O. He is willingly jumping into the deep end, knowing what he's doing. If you want to look at the Ali situation and why this is different from that, Ali, even at that point in time, was still speaking about black civil rights and all that stuff. And he had been using, I believe, thinking more about it. Again, do research for yourself. But he had been using that rhetoric all the time. But it was never in a poignant negative context. Because then you would see how he would be outside. And you'd be like, oh, okay. Again, I'm not saying it's right that he should have done it in his buildup, but he still did it. But this is like he knows what he's doing. He knows the feeling of the hat that he wears, especially with the black fist on the side of the hat also. In the black community, where it looks to be a contradiction of messages. He knows what he's doing. And he knows this isn't just some banter. This isn't just some this, that, or the third. This is deliberate. This is poignant. We haven't heard him talking like this ever. Only up until a couple months ago. This is different. And it's concerning. And again, I'm not trying to police. I'm not trying to be somebody that says, yes, this is the way. But this is something that does need to be talked about. Because this is something that not just for his career, but his own reputation could be stained by this. And he could get, for the rest of his career, depicted as something that he doesn't want to be seen as. That he potentially isn't in all actuality. But because he's playing this game, and it's such a stark jump from what we had seen all this other time in his career, never using this type of language, never using this type of rhetoric, never using this type of imagery. Nothing about his track record showed me anything about this. It is a situation where, brother, what's going on? If this was indeed you that sent it, even if you didn't send it, why are you grifting with this? You control in most other ways. How many ways you control the likes of Keyshawn Davis without the need to piggyback on this type of action? If it was you, or even if it wasn't you that sent the box. And so it's again, I just disagree. Just me. I just disagree. Send Teofimo from Honduras in the box. I'll bet you he'll laugh about that. Maybe so. Again, maybe so. I'm not, again, like I said, I'm not trying to police who reacts to what. I'm not trying to be the end all be all. But in certain situations, I feel like there's something that needs to be said. And this is one of those situations. And this is something that the way he's going about it, for me, yeah, it could be something that's dangerous. And for his own career, just for himself as a whole, I don't want it. I just don't. And I got to keep the same standard I do for everybody else. And I've been trying to. in the way I talk, same thing. So, again, it's just my opinion. And again, Rusty Cage, you might be right. Ali racism got swept under the rug. T.O. gonna be fine. Very well, maybe. Very well, all this could be forgotten. Very well. All this could be. But all I know is right now, it's hot news. And these questions need to be asked about the effects of this going forward. Because it is a conversation that needs to be had. Not just about this specific situation, but just on the whole of the history of the sport. And is it right that it's in some situations it gets a pass and others it don't? Is it right that this has just been the game that we just accept that it's gonna happen? It happened before, and if it was all good with him, it was all good with everybody else. It's and knowing what we know now, that shouldn't be. And even with the nature of what it was versus what it is in the landscape of the sport, with the rooted effects of how, yes, this will sell. This is a legitimate point to use. It's like, oh boy, still ain't for me. It's something that I would rather not see. And because I know T.O. can and has been better than that, shouldn't need it. But all this could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And none of this affects him. He gets the big fight. Everybody forgets all this. Everybody just says, yeah, it was just promotion. And next thing you know, we're all riding high. Boom. Everything's all good. Again, I'm not saying I'm the end all be all. Trust me. Please. Some people older, wiser, smarter, that can speak on this in an even more detailed fashion. Absolutely. But it just we're going to have to see. Honestly, we're going to have to see the effects. Man, nobody brings up Mayweather can't rate his comments during Pacquiao bit. See, and honestly, that's when I was first That's kind of when I was first getting big into the sport. So I didn't even know anything about it. I didn't. I just knew the fight was big. And I just knew the fight was, I didn't even get to pay attention to the buildup as much except for the announcement on ESPN. Hey, this fight's happening. And everybody around me was ready to see it. And I knew about boxing, but I didn't know about the modern day boxing at that point in time. So I was like, hey, I want to see it. I'm excited for it. And so I didn't even know that about the build-up as a whole. So it's like, you see, it happens all the time, but people don't talk about it. And so it's, hey, like I said, it's the game. And if it's swept under the rug, probably happen again. You're absolutely right. If it's forgotten, then it'll probably be forgotten now. But as for me, to give you all the best informed, at least perspective, even if you don't agree, it's my job to make sure that it is at least said and put on and put on blast in some fashion that, hey, even though this has happened before, maybe this shouldn't be something that we see as a consistent used card per se when it comes to selling a fight. We can do better. All of you are better because we've seen what you've been able to do in and outside the ring. You're phenomenal people with personalities all around that are incredible. And for me, to go back to this well that has been used primarily against minorities as a means to demean them. And boxing was a stage for a lot of white people to have not just these names called for anybody else that wasn't white that stepped in the ring, but also to use as a dominating show of force that we are above you. Which is one of the big reasons why the term Great White Hope came into play. To show the globe that, yeah, in the most physical and brutal of sports, we are indeed the best of the rest. Knowing the history, I would wish that this wasn't the road that we had to go down in the modern times to make people excited for whatever fights or invested. But like we said, if you get swept under the rug, other build-ups have happened, forgot about it, didn't even know about it. So this may just happen as well. But it would be a disservice for me not to at least point that out for you all. Not saying that you all don't know, but just to, you know, somebody's got to say something. And so I'll be the one. Just to say, hey, there is a red flag here. You all should at least know or be aware of that, what that flag is. That's all. That's all. But again, let's see. Clarence Shield used it too for years, and no one said anything. And Haney's dad till he got beat down. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Haney's dad did say that. Shoot. Haney's again. It's been a lot of like the more you think about it, it's a lot of, like this is constant. The more you think about it, it constantly happens. That's the thing. Like we're getting situations and fighters that do it countlessly, and it's just we just all forget about it, or we don't even notice it at points in time. And I'm like, oh what? Whoa, indeed. And so yeah, factories. I remember Shields insulting Mexicans and on a Mexican holiday. Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. My goodness. And so it seems like selective. Again, like I said, I'm not for other. For people, it may just be selective outreach. No question. I've tried to say this countless times, regardless of what situations. If I know about it, I've said it. If I don't know about it, I didn't know. Like the Christian Shields thing, I didn't know. The Pacquiao thing, I didn't know. When Darrell said it, I called it out. And when instances were brought up that I knew about, hey, I did say something. It wasn't this long of a diatribe because it wasn't as big of news, but I did say something because I tried to be as consistent as I could. And yeah, like I said, yeah, Darrell used it against Sam Plant until Plant put him in the body bag. He did. Until Plant knocked him out with the knockout of the year. Darrell said, I'm not going to there's no white boy on the planet that's going to beat me. I'm not going to let a white boy beat me. There's no way a white boy can beat me. He ain't from the he ain't through the same mud. He ain't been through the same dirt. He ain't gone through what I've done. All that stuff. We know the rhetoric. We know the rhetoric. And we heard it. From him and from others before. I think Adrian Broner also said stuff like that. This is the more you think about it, the more you hear it. It's in the forefront because of how, I guess, for the CFMO situation, because of how I want to say, it's the right word, volatile? More so, I guess, just shocking nature of what he's insinuating. And it's just coming from out of left field, roughly days before, I believe it's days before the fight actually happens between Keyshawn and Bjornchik. It's like, oh shoot, caught everybody by surprise. You got Top Rank needing to make an immediate response about it. So yeah, this got put to the forefront of a lot of people for the whole conversation. And again, we gotta talk about Usyk, we gotta talk about Tank, but just real quick, on this channel, I'm not saying I'm the end all be all. I'm not saying I'm some racial police. I'm not saying any of that. It's probably a bunch of stuff that I miss. Don't get it twisted. But I try to be as consistent as I can with the message, both with whether it's Darrell, whether it's Shields, Pacquiao, Mayweather, whoever the case may be, don't matter who. You don't need to do that in order to sell fights. And you shouldn't do it because of what the game initially was used for. Even though you're using it to sell tickets, there's always been a deeper situation of what this is rooted into that continues to draw a line in the sand that you don't need to be drawing, especially against each other. And so you can say you're better than, I would rather. You're better than them. You're a punk. You can't fight, can't punch, all this stuff. Everything that we normally see with boxing build-up, absolutely. All exciting. Yeah. But for that, like I said, there are lines. And if you choose to cross them, nope, okay, that's what you do. Don't make it right. And just because playing the game that everybody else plays doesn't mean the game should be played. Even if there's no way to stop the game, there is a way that you can choose to not partake in the game. And for all these people, black, white, Hispanic, Honduran, Puerto Rican, Cuban, whatever ethnicity or race that you are, You don't need that. You don't. And at least from my perspective. I'm not gonna catch everything. I'm not gonna have these conversations all the time. But for this specific instance, because it is so at the forefront, doing my due diligence is to give you all a perspective that I feel needs to be said. Even if you don't agree. Even if you think I'm soft, I'm out of my mind, I'm thinking too much, I'm digging too deep. Okay, fine. That's how you feel. Okay. Hey. But to just leave it as nothing, I think for what I'm trying to make this channel to be, it would be disingenuous to not at least have something to say. Like I said, at least hold up a red flag and say, hey, this is a problem. And this is something that shouldn't be happening. And beyond just this moment, we should look at stuff in a more deliberate light when it comes to these types of issues. Because they don't need to happen. And if they do, can't stop it. I'm not saying we're going to be able to stop it. But at least have some level of, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit. That's all. That's all. Not trying to preach, not trying to pry, but it does need to be said. But again, now let's go into what we're trying to get into before it got ramped up again with the likes of Usyk. Usyk is retiring. Yes, it's happening. My gosh, we were getting ready to say it, but the whole conversation got drummed up again. No problem. Love it. Absolutely. But it is happening. Yo, my pal, what's going on with you? How you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. We're getting ready to touch on the news that Alexander Usyk is retiring from boxing with two fights. He's got 2 fights left that he says of his own volition, and then he's done. 1 fight will be against the winner of Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. That is guaranteed. That's a lot. That's happening. Oh, yes, indeed. But when it comes to the second one, now we're asking the question, who would that second fight be? Who would the next iteration, what would be indeed the last fight for Usyk on the docket of his career? Do you think he would move back down to cruiserweight? Do you think that he would go and move up to heavyweight? Wouldn't we see? Would we see a situation where maybe he goes for a show fight? Like he said, he even said, maybe I'll fight the likes of Alex Pereira and do a show fight and a cross-promotional thing with the UFC and fight Alex Pereira at cruiserweight. Potentially. Who knows? Well, there's a whole bunch of them. And again, like I said, well-deserved. It's a well-deserved retirement. It's a well-deserved moniker of he's done everything that we wanted him to do. He has accomplished. He went undisputed at cruiserweight in a good cruiserweight division. Went undisputed at heavyweight. Fought AJ again. Fought Daniel Dubois. Knocked him out. Fought Tyson Fury twice. Fought Derek Chisora. And has quickly and concisely taken on the best of the best and showed that he's better than all the rest and is the baddest man on the planet. He did it. No question. There is no equal in the division. So it's a well-deserved retirement. And it's impressive because he's been able to be so successful for so long. Like I was saying earlier before we went back to the Teofimo Lopez news, we're looking and we're saying Usyk's he's closer to 40 than he is to 35, I believe. And since that's the case, we're saying it's impressive that we're seeing somebody like Usyk be able to be so dominant at such an advanced age with the ability to genuinely look still in his prime, as much of a dominant prime as we've seen in the modern day of heavyweight boxing. He has etched his name into the all-time great conversations. And that's another question that we need to ask. Where in the world does he rank? In fact, let's ask that. Let's question that right now. Now that we're seeing his career coming to an end, if he stays undefeated, let's say hypothetically actually, before we get to him going and fighting the winner of Parker versus Dubois, if right now, would you have him as potentially a top 5 heavyweight of all time? I know we had this conversation before, but we didn't think it was going to end this soon in terms of the career officially wrapping up. And closing the book. We're coming to the end of the chapters. We're coming to the back of the book. We're getting ready. The show's getting ready to end. Now, would we rank? Where would we rank? The likes of Usyk. And we already said, hey, easily top 25, easily within the top. You could argue easily in the top 10. Do we put him in the top 5 of heavyweights of all time? Genuine, based off his accomplishments. The most one-to-one comparison you could put is the likes of Evander Holyfield. Could we not? That's the most one-to-one situation. Likes of Evander Holyfield going and being undisputed champion, the last undisputed cruiserweight champion, then going to be undisputed at heavyweight, having wars with Riddick Bowe, going to war with the likes of George Foreman, going to war with the likes of Lennox Lewis, has faced off against a plethora of Hall of Fame caliber talent, has been incredible, is one of the greatest in history. That's as close to a one-to-one comparison. Does he rank above that? I don't think so. I would say Usyk's probably, this ain't disrespect, but he's probably in that bottom 6 through 10 range if we were going to put him in that top 10 of all time. Now, again, you can disagree, absolutely, and I would love to hear what you have as your rank for Usyk in the comments below, no question about it. But he's probably within that bottom 6 to 10 range if you did put him in the top 10 of all time for the heavyweights in history. And there's a lot of them. You got Joe Louis, you got Rocky Marciano, you got Mike Tyson, you got Lennox Lewis, you got, you want to go way back, you can go back to Jersey Joe Walcott if you want to. We can go, there's a deep history when it comes to the world of heavyweights. George Foreman, Joe Frazier, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's by proxy of what he's done for his entire career. It's like, shoot, man, this is an impressive feat. Cruiserweight, you can argue he's potentially the second best cruiserweight in history. Maybe outside, or maybe he might even have eclipsed the likes of Evander Holyfield at cruiserweight. That's a whole nother ranking we could even talk about. But specifically in the heavyweight ranks, with how quickly he rung up the ladder, it's like, shoot, man. It's a real conversation. Sometimes people forget how good Usyk was at cruiserweight. All of his title defenses, all of his title fights to turn up to classics of the division. Oh, okay. So most of his title fights in the cruiserweight division are seen as classics in the whole of cruiserweight history. Well, shoot, if that's the case, that's incredible. That's phenomenal. That's insane. It speaks to the dominance of somebody like Usyk to so concretely reign and rule over, again, a very good cruiserweight division at that point in time. Yeah, it's impressive. It's incredibly impressive. It's stupidly impressive. And so it's like, he may be the greatest cruiserweight ever, only behind or tied with the likes of Evander Holyfield. And at heavyweight, when I'm telling you, buddy, he might be. I think he might be in top 10. I think he might be in top 10. And depending on, and you have to understand, I'm saying bottom 6 through 10 and keeping it vague because the real concrete answer is going to come after we see the likes of either Dubois or Parker. And I think it's going to be Dubois that he faces off against. And if he beats this new version of Dubois after beating AJ twice, after beating one of the best versions we had seen of Tyson Fury, period, in both instances, then shoot, that quick at this age, with this level of complete and utter domination potentially on the horizon for his entire heavyweight tenure, the only concerning blotch on his heavyweight tenure was him potentially getting knocked down by Daniel Dubois with a body shot that was deemed low. And it's still debated to this day whether it was low or whether it was clean. But regardless of which, that shot, everybody's saying, oh, he would have gotten, he could have gotten knocked out if that shot had counted. Well, if the shot did count, he would have gotten knocked down and still gotten back up with what we know about Usyk, and then kept on trucking and would have adapted. Potentially, that's what we could hypothesize. And the ending ended just like the ending would have ended, just like the ending actually ended at that fight with Daniel Dubois, him knocking him out. And so it's even if the knockout did occur, or even if the knockdown did indeed count, the ending most likely still would have been the same. Because Dubois still could have attacked the body at that point, even when it was deemed, oh, you went low. He could have still went for it. He could have still went and attacked that midsection and said, okay, that might have been low, but the effect is the effect, and we're still going to attack the same way. But he didn't. And if anything, Usyk didn't allow it to happen. Cut off that level of game plan. And then boom, caught him, knocked him out, fight's over. Now, against this version, Daniel Dubois, he beats. And he, dare I say, knocks out again after he has continued to evolve and reshape himself as a boxer in terms of Daniel Dubois. My gosh. Shoot. Yeah, we're looking at a different breed. We are. We're looking at something special, something so special. We're looking at something insane. If we see Usyk do that. And so, yeah, that 6 through 10 range, for now, I'll keep it vague. Excuse me. But that's where he will probably rank. Within the bottom rung of that 6 through 10, if we're putting him in the top 10 best heavyweights of all time. But if he does indeed beat Daniel Dubois, and dare I say he takes on another behemoth. Let's say his last fight is against the likes of Moses Atuma. Let's say his last fight is against the likes of Zhang. Let's say his last fight is against one of the big, good prospects like Caballero. One of any of them. Like that, brother, my gosh. Bacoli, hypothetically, he fights in Bacoli. We're naming all these names because we don't know who exactly is going to be that last opponent after the winner of Dubois versus Parker. But if he beats Dubois, because again, I'm picking Dubois to win that fight, or Parker. He beats either one of those, and then he goes and beats the likes of a Bacoli, a Zhang, a Moses Atuma, a Caballero, or anybody of that ilk that are looking to be the best contenders while being undisputed for a second time. That's impressive. I'm sorry. That's impressive. That's too impressive to ignore with what we've seen on the whole of his career. And in his short stint at heavyweight, taking on the baddest of the bad immediately and cleaning house, hurting the unhurt, hurting the seemingly unheard of, toppling the insurmountable, climbing heights that people thought he would be too small to even get a footrest on, a foothold in. That we're looking at a bad brother that is truly shaking up the heavyweight regime, not just in the modern day, but in all time types of caliber. It's scary. It's impressive. My gosh, it is shoot, man. That's something. So I'll keep it within that 6 through 10 range. And depending on not just the results, but the wins of Daniel Dubois, as well as who he fights after, I can give you a more concrete answer. But right now, he's closer to 10 than he is to 15. Or if he's in that top 10 conversation, out of respect of those who came before, he can be in that bottom rung for now. But that can flip in a heartbeat. Absolutely. And depending on how he goes to finish his career. I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. It's going to be, again, the end of an era. And that's another thing that we're getting ready to talk about. This is marking the start of the beginning of the end of an era in boxing, of this current regime of dominant boxers that reigned over the headlines and the stardom of this era, like with Terrence Crawford, like with Canelo, like with Tyson Fury, like with Usyk, like with Deontay Wilder. So many. With Usyk now going, it's a very real thing that this is the start of the shift into the new era of boxing stardom or boxing collective as a whole. Now the names that are going to be at the forefront are going to be new. The primes of now are going to be seen as the greats of tomorrow. Like the Inoues. Benavidez is quickly ramping up. We got Bam Rodriguez. It's going to be a starter when these older fighters go. They will be the names that will be looked at as those are the guys. It's going to be the likes of also, Warlock Boxing Whistle with you. How you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Absolutely on this Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning. Glad to hear right now. We're talking about the news that Usyk is going to retire from the sport of boxing. And now, not just where he ranks in your opinion, what do you feel about it, but also on the whole of the sport. This marks a real beginning of the end of the shift in this era of boxing. That's what we're talking about. And the next generation is getting ready to come up. And the primes are now going to be the greats of tomorrow. Like I was touching on, the Baron Rodriguez's, the Naoya Inoue's, who's already, again, pound for pound, but in terms of big stars that is going to be looked at as this is the guy that the world must pay attention to, that takes over the headlines, that is the defining barometer for everybody coming up now. It was Usyk, was Crawford, was Canelo. But with Usyk leaving, now we're looking at that torch is now looking to be passed on sooner rather than later. Because don't forget, Usyk's 38, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 36, and Canelo's getting ready to fight the likes of Crawford. And so who knows? Canelo's got 4 fights on this next tenure in boxing. At that point in time, if it's between this year and 2027, he'll be 38, 39 years old. And so, he'll be 37, 38 years old as well, with 60 plus fights on his resume. It's going to be, hey, time's winding up. I think Tyson Fury has legitimately retired from the sport of boxing after that loss to Usyk, both instances. And so that's done. Wilder's on the tail end of his career as a boxer. He said he wants to come back, but shoot, at this point, is he just beating a dead horse? Don't need to come up. Derek Chisora, who is seen as a darling in the UK, he just fought his last fight in the UK, beating Otto Wallin, knocking him down twice. So now we're saying, and we're looking at the whole of the landscape of boxing throughout different weight classes. Stuff's shifted. Stuff is changing. Stuff is going. People are starting to reach the end of their careers that we all grew up on as either watching them come up or saw their prime and how much they dominated. It's like it's coming to an end. Slowly but surely, it's coming to an end. And not even slowly but surely, quicker than maybe people may have anticipated, because we were blinded by the performances and by the sustained dominance. Now, hey. And even Tank, who should be at the forefront of leading that charge, that brother's only got 3 fights left. Not counting Lamont Roach. He's got 2. And then he's done. And so we're seeing and feeling a shift start to occur. There is it's at minimum, it is starting. At minimum, it is the beginning of a turning of the page for who will take the mantle of boxing next. That next generation who is going to be the people that stand up and truly take that banner? And for my money, it's going to be the likes of, in terms of world-renowned acceptance and undeniability. It's going to be the likes of Nelia anyway. It's going to be the likes of Bam Rodriguez. It's going to be potentially in the heavyweight division, Moses Satuma. It's going to be the likes of him. There are some big faces. There going to be this. Once everybody else starts to clear out, now he gets bigger stardom. And if he keeps performing like he's been performing, oh yeah, he's going to be seen as truly, oh, this brother, we've been overlooking this kid. The wider boxing audience. Even though, yes, he is already incredibly popular. We've been overlooking this cat. He's been doing work like this all the time. Oh, shoot. He's incredible. More on getting truly the acceptance that he deserves because he keeps doing in the work. It's going to pay off. And now, Terrence Crawford's running up to the end of the road. Errol Spence, we don't know when he's going to fight again. The page is being turned. Excuse me. So be prepared. Because this new generation, I can't wait to see what they do. But the old generation is getting ready to transition from greats of today to the greats of yesteryear that people then go and look to take notes from, learn from, and evolve their style from. Because they're going to say, I remember watching you fight. This is going to be incredible. I can't wait to see. Oh, and speaking of Gervonta Davis, almost forgot. We now have an update on his potential retirement. And in all honesty, he may be regretting it. Now, why do I say that? Well, let me show you right now. As to per his interview with Lil Yachty, I believe a couple days ago, if not yesterday. Come, take a look and let's see what he got to say.
Is this?
It's real.
Has it changed? Have you been have you had any thoughts like, maybe I was tripping a bit?
Yeah, I do be having those thoughts.
Yeah.
But it's also too, I want to get myself together though.
Which is much more important.
Yeah, I really want to get myself together, like not retire, but take a break, you know. But the only thing is, well, I ain't gonna lie. I done already made a promise. To Al, like we out of it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I can stick around and I will help people and guide people, but as far as like me competing, I don't really want to do it. It's like other stuff I need to work on, you know, like being more there for my kids, going to school, you know, just building myself up as a person, you know what I mean, as a great human being. That's what I'm focusing on.
How do you get to that? A lot of.
So now with this being the case, it's going to be interesting now. Because now, there's a little, yes, Tank said, like you said in the video, made a promise, Al Heyman, once he's done, he's done. He wants to stay around boxing and wants to help bring other people up, like he said. But also a little bit, like he said in the initial, when he first started the question, is he regretting it? There's a little bit, yeah. There's a little bit of, hey, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. There's some level of feeling, if I could go back and take that stance back, I would. Because now, wanting to better himself, absolutely. Take care of your mental state. Be the best that you can be and do what you got to do to be there for your family. Be there for those who love you. Be there for yourself and get yourself right. We all want that. And I've been saying that about Tank. I want that for Tank. I want him to be able to retire, get his money, be successful, and then leave and be able to take care of everything that he wants to take care of. Live the best life that he can. No question about that. But in the immediate, there's still, and I think we've talked about this with Floyd also, there's a level with Floyd Mayweather. Even after he retired, it's like, could have done a little bit more. You know, there was still some level of, I'm still hungry. Hey, that's why you see him fighting all these exhibitions all the time. With Tank, the man's still in his prime. The man is still only a little above 30, 31 years old. Is in the physical peak of his career and is one of the best stars in the sport, bar none. It's one of the pound for pound, from a talent perspective, best that we've seen in boxing. And with only 3 fights, left on his career, we're looking and we're saying, this man, what is it that you really want to get out of this? Because now you don't have time. In fact, there was another interview, I can't find it right now, but there was another interview, or in the same interview, he was talking about how he wanted to get more heads on his wall, more bodies on his resume. Absolutely. He still got some names that he wants to get. But at this point in time, because of what you've already said, you can't even get them all. You can't. Because you've already made the promise that you're done. And so the real question all this comes down to, is this retirement now going to stick? Now with hearing this type of sentiment, is this a retirement that's really going to stick for Tank? Or will he retire, sure, take a break, but then come back and get back into the ring? In all honesty, with this, there may be a situation where he gets back into the ring, genuinely. Not even trying to be funny. There could be a real situation that Tank gets back in the ring instead of just staying retired, bar none. Yes, we've talked about all the time. Said he wants to live on an island by himself. Said he's tired of all this boxing stuff. He said all the stuff that screamed. He's done with this sport as a whole. He's finished. No more. Absolutely out. Out and done. But when we look at the landscape of not just boxing, but of what he himself desires, similar to what we talked about with Floyd Mayweather, he still wants that level of respect and full accomplishment, fulfillment. He still wants to have that. Hey, there's still some names I can get, and I went and got them. Now, he could have gotten them earlier. He could have gotten them a lot earlier. He could have gotten them, now, instead of getting the likes of Welch. We've already covered stuff like that. But since that's the reality, and since there is still some level of I still want to be in this ring, there's still that little bit of regret at saying, yeah, I'm calling it quits. Again, his words, not mine. Now we're looking and we're saying, Tank, you, even when you retire, brother, you might come back. Excuse me, I got something in my eye. My apologies. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Got something in my eye. My apologies. Not trying to stop the show, but I do want to be able to see. I do want to be able to see real quick. Ooh. Yeah, there we go. Okay. But looking at but when we have this now in front of us and we're saying, yeah, it may be a retirement, but could it be a short retirement? And could we see Tank really come back and fight potentially in a year or two after he does indeed call it quits fully? We're still questioning what names he's going to call out. Sure. We're still questioning what else he's going to try to do to make this a last throughout. Or will he indeed just go with fights that, yeah, they make money, but they don't really impact the legacy of what he was as a fighter? Because he's still, at this point, he's still not going to be, in my book, an all-time great because of what he didn't do. And there's so much that he didn't do, and so many names that he should have been fighting, well, like we said before on this very show, that he should have fought already that he hasn't. And Lamont Welch being the man that you fight who's coming up from 135 or coming up from 130 to 135, oh yeah, that's a mega letdown. Absolutely. We keep on saying we don't want that fight. We keep on saying that we're tired of that fight. We keep on saying that we're sick of that fight happening. We don't want that. But even still, it's happening. And so with that being the case, he's got 2 more fights left. How much can he really do? And when he sees that he really can't do everything that he wants to do, could we see this retirement be incredibly short-lived? And could we see Tank indeed come back, maybe sooner rather than later, and actually get to the names that we know we want to see, and that he may now realize, yeah, I want to get in the ring with him. No more waiting. Potentially. And if that does happen, great. But if it doesn't, but it's going to be unfulfilled. And that unfulfillment may force him back into the ring. Yes, he said that if he leaves the ring, he's going to lose a part of himself. But I guarantee you, if he does indeed heal like he said he wants to heal, I think he'll still be back. Because even if the personal stuff is fixed, which I hope so, I want it to be the best that you can be. But the fire as a whole, oh, that's still gonna be something that he desires. Because you never lose that as a fighter, as a warrior. You don't lose that ability, that want to get yourself up to be able to fight. You don't lose it. You don't. Even if it's a struggle. Like even with what Tank said about the likes of Lomachenko fighting him just recently. And saying that, yeah, he understands why Lomachenko isn't fighting him, because it's hard for him at this stage in his career to get up and excited for fights of any kind. But even still, with Tank, I truly feel it. It's going to be a situation where when he retires and when it's all said and done, he's going to be like, man, I still want that action. And there's so much stuff that I still want to do that I didn't do. So beyond just helping the sport and helping guide fighters, I still want to fight against the people that I didn't get a chance to do. I didn't get a chance to go and put on my wall. Hence, he'll keep on going. He'll make it happen. And if he does, even great. Oh, that's so great. That's incredible. We'd love to see that. So don't be surprised that potentially, with all this uproar about the retirement of Tank, which is understandable, it could indeed be something that isn't permanent. And we could see Gervonta Davis come back after these 3 fights and still finally give us all the fights with the names that we've been asking for him to fight against for the longest time. Potentially. We could indeed see that happen. But now, since that's the case, that's about everything I've got to cover on my docket of the show. So now, we can now go into one of the best parts of the show, the championship rounds. That's right. It's time to make the show your own. Go and talk about whatever you want to discuss, and let's make whatever you want to talk about, whether it's boxing, NBA, football, the Super Bowl, wrestling, anime, sports, don't matter to me. We can talk about it. We can be about it. And let's make the show you want. Absolutely. In fact, let me put the banner right now so everybody can know what exactly the time is. We got 30 minutes to go and discuss whatever you want to say, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to talk about, whatever questions, whatever debates you want to have. Let's make it happen. Let's go do it. Let's go make this show your own. Absolutely. And we can make this the best 30 minutes to an hour that we can make for this channel. Absolutely. And I'm excited for it. Let me make sure this banner is spelled correctly so I can put it up on the screen for everybody to get ready to see. But go on and put in your comments in the chat right now. Whatever you want. And there we go. Let's make it happen. We got an hour 30, whatever you all want to discuss and talk about. We can make it happen right now. Yes, indeed. Yeah, buddy. We back and we're going to be better than ever. And while you're getting your questions together, we still got so much to cover on this show. Like, hey, we can quickly cover the Super Bowl that happened this past Sunday while you're getting your questions together. Because we're a multi-faceted show. We cover boxing and much more. Shoot, let me tell you something. Fly, Eagles, fly is an understatement. The Eagles soared over the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs 40 to 20. And I mean, it was 40 to 20, 40 to 22 in an absolute dominating effort on the side of the Eagles. And the Chiefs just looked lost. They looked incredibly bad. I think this was Patrick Mahomes' worst game to date. And as a quarterback of what looked to be a dynasty, now all of a sudden all that talk just stopped. But now, does this end the GOAT debate outright for a lot of people in the world of the NFL? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And because it shouldn't, there's still some hope that we could see him reach the levels of Brady. Now, again, understand, Brady was a brother who went and for, 10? Was it 10 years? He did. I'm sorry. I've been having an eyelash in my eye that has been really irking me for the longest time. And I'm trying to get it out. I'm not trying to let it impose on the show. But my goodness. But yeah, the door isn't closed for Patrick Mahomes to still reach the GOAT debate. And it's because there's still a lot of his career. He's had the hottest start that we've seen from a quarterback, potentially in history. Not even potentially, I don't even think it's debatable. multi-time MVP, multi-time champion, multi-time Super Bowl MVP. It's incredible. And so because of that, no, he can still reach him. He can still catch him. He can still catch him. As a talent, I think he's the best period I've seen at the sport of football. Nobody, at least American football, excuse me, for my international fans out there, American football. He's got the greatest arm talent and QB talent I've seen from a quarterback in the history of the sport. For anybody, from Joe Montana to Joe Namath, to John Elway, McNabb, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, don't matter. All of them. He's got all better talent than all of them. And he can still reach the threshold of reaching that level of greatness and eclipsing it and potentially still being the GOAT. It's not just closed. It's a bad chapter. The book ain't closed yet. Oh, it's not. It's not by a long shot, at least in my estimation. But let's see. What we got to do? Are you reading fiction or non-fiction books right now? No, I'm not. I've been so busy with trying to make this show, and really, I haven't gotten time to read per se. Sadly, I need to get back on the ball with some stuff. There are some books I got my eye on, but I haven't made full decisions yet. But however, I'll get back on the ball. I'll get back on the ball. Again, I'm more of a comic book fan than a fiction or rather a novel type fan, but I'm still a fan of novels, so don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's just in the immediate, I haven't had time to read because I have been swamped with trying to make stuff happen. So sadly, no, I'm not reading at this point in time, not reading any major books or novels, but I'll get back on it. When I find one that I'm getting back into, I'll let you know. Absolutely, no question about it. But again, with more questions as you're getting them at your disposal, we still have a bunch of stuff to cover in the world. Not just on the flip side for my, I guess we can call it. Well, no. For a little bit more on the football topic, because we still got some American fans here in the chat that watched the game and weren't gonna be bored by it. Let's not forget the halftime performance that happened. For those of you who didn't know, Kendrick Lamar had one of the greatest halftime performances that we had seen in the history of the sport. Now, why was it so great? When people on the internet are trying to dog it, say, oh, it's boring. Oh, it was macabre. Oh, he didn't play any hits. Well, understand this. This Super Bowl halftime performance was viewed more than Michael Jackson's halftime performance. He was the first performance that happened. Over 132 million people. Kendrick Lamar, I believe 133 million. This is a situation where Kendrick has the greatest performance. And my English, it's okay. Look, we reading through. It's all good. Look, you ain't got to worry about nothing. We gonna figure out what you got to say. English, bad English, good English. We always are gonna make sure that we make it so that everybody's chats are gonna be read. We're gonna figure it out. And if it takes a couple times, we're still gonna figure it out. Absolutely. Don't get it twisted. Don't feel bad or ashamed. Hopefully I'm helping. Hopefully the more you practice, the better you get. And you're getting better and better. Everybody's getting better. Absolutely. So don't be ashamed of what you're chatting out. We'll figure it out. Don't worry, we will figure it out. What you're trying to say, no question in my mind. But again, real quick, for those who got to see the Super Bowl, do not listen to the noise that this was a bad performance. This was not just the most viewed halftime performance, but this is one of the most important performances that we've seen in American football for the masses. The reason why it was so impactful, the messaging, the song choices, everything wasn't just bops and hits like America wanted, like we normally see happen. This was an intentional message to speak to the state of the country, to show a mirror to the face of the world on the biggest stage. This wasn't just a Drake diss. This wasn't just a victory lap because of Not Like Us, because of the whole Meet the Grams and the euphoria, the entirety of the beef that they were going with Drake and Kendrick. This wasn't just a victory lap. It was bigger than that. This was a stance on the not just the political climate, but just the person-to-person climate that this country was going into. Samuel L. Jackson being Uncle Sam, being, again, mind you, he played the black slave who was essentially an Uncle Tom or Uncle Ruckus for those who watch the Boondocks in the movie. Oh, he was phenomenal in it. He was incredible in it. But that caricature of always pandering to his slave master, and him playing Uncle Sam in this halftime performance as who Uncle Sam, for those of you who don't know, is the essentially a quote unquote American mascot. Uncle Sam is America. That's what the character is, America. The whole promotional stuff of Uncle Sam wants you to join the army, pointing and all that stuff. That is representing America wants you to do whatever the word that they're saying. That's what the character Uncle Sam is. So Samuel L. Jackson, with that background, being Uncle Sam, an incredibly deliberate choice. Samuel L. Jackson telling Kendrick, "Hey, that ain't what we want. It's too loud, too reckless, too ghetto." Speaking to what normally America says about the plight or about the culture of black, not just black America, but of all of America, who gets out of line with what the cultural norm for this country is supposed to be. The nice, good, no problem, non-quote unquote problematic, the safe route, the inauthenticity. That's what the country wants. That's what a lot of people want it for. That's what you see a lot of times when it came to the likes of the commentary on this performance, were a lot of people in the social media airspace saying that, oh, we wanted to vibe, we wanted to rock, we wanted all the best songs, huh? We wanted all of that. But that's not what was needed. That's not what you needed to hear. Going and doing just the hits wasn't what this country needs. And to go against that and to say, hey, we ain't going to vibe. We need you to listen and learn. We need you to be intentional. We need you to understand all of this subliminal messaging, all of this symbolicism to speak to what this nation's going through right now. It's important. It's incredibly important. We don't have time just to vibe. That's what Kendrick was doing. Yes, he went at Drake and said, hey, Drake, I hear you like I'm young. He said, hey, Drake, and the whole A minor thing. He went through the song. Absolutely. But that wasn't the biggest thing. The biggest thing about this performance wasn't just, I got to the Super Bowl when Drake, one of your songs was big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl. I'm as big as the Super Bowl. That wasn't even the biggest point for all of this. This point was the show. Kendrick was painting a picture that his life is a game with literally the video game symbolism. X circle, triangle, square, like on the PlayStation. If you have a PS5 or PS4 or PS3, whatever PlayStation device you may have. Uncle Sam being a person who's saying, yeah, that's great, keep doing that, versus, hey, bringing out your homeboys. The old cultural cheat code, deduct one life, all of that. The American flag made up of people that were going through and genuinely turning their backs to each other as Kendrick walked down the center line, speaking to the divide of America. That's genuine. And so many other different things that this performance spoke to show. This is bigger than Drake. This is bigger than just a beat. This is bigger than just, I'm performing on the grandest stage. It's the biggest opportunity for an artist that actually has the power to make a message, send a message. And if you look into it, the songs all were great. They were. All of them I knew. Stuff from Gene X. Stuff from, I don't think he did stuff from Good Kid, Mad City. But regardless of which, all of his songs were indeed incredible. But now, it's like, it's incredible. It's phenomenal. But if you don't want to learn, if you don't want to dig deep, you're willingly being ignorant of what was trying to be said. And that's the problem. And that's exactly why this performance might have went over your head. So I'd advise you to go back and look at it, because I think you'll like it very much. Which conspiracy theory is your favorite? Shoot, I hadn't even thought of that. Do I have conspiracy theories? I don't think I have any conspiracy theory. You know what? If I did have one, the only one that I would have that is like legitimate is the fact that companies are changing their logo without telling people. Remember the whole, like, underwear and t-shirts, Foot of the Loom, had that cornucopia in the back with all the food coming out. I have clothes that had that. I know I did. Many people did. And all of a sudden they just changed it. And then acted like, oh, it never happened. No. Legitimately. Companies change their logo. And they don't tell you. And then they hide the fact that they changed their logo. Kit Kat just changed their logo. It was subtle, but they changed it. And all of a sudden they're acting like it never happened at all. They don't even say it. We've seen this. It's like, it's a fake Mandela effect of, oh shoot, this was here. No, it wasn't. But indeed, it was. It did exist. I'm not saying that's the case for every case, but in certain situations, like with Fruit of the Loom and others, it is indeed, yes, that's true. The stuff was indeed how we remember it. People and companies are trying to make it so that we don't remember that was part of whatever history that they had. And it makes no sense because it's not like it's bad. It's just like with logos in the NBA. They change and evolve in time. No problem. But in this situation with a lot of companies, they change their logos, but doggone it, you don't tell us. And then when we try to say that they existed, you say they didn't. And it's like, we know they did. There's no way they didn't. It boggles my mind. And it's like, why? Why are you willingly trying to pull the wool over our eyes over something that is like, would that not help your branding? Would that not help y'all to be like, yeah, look at all of our history. Don't you remember when we had this on our logo? You could bring it back as a retro thing. Whatever the case you may want to do. But to then to gaslight us like we don't know what we bought, it's ridiculous. And so it's not my favorite, but that's the one that I'm like, that ain't a conspiracy. That's real. That's real. That's absolutely real. Trying to make me look like I'm crazy. Like I don't know what I bought. Like I don't know what I paid for. As if we never had this. No. Doggone it, it did. My gosh, yes it did. It did happen. And people you're just trying to make us seem like fools. But it wasn't a fool. It actually happened. And it's terrible. It's horrible. It's not I don't have a favorite conspiracy, but that's a quote unquote conspiracy that is actually real. Because I have stuff of these older logos that were what the companies used to use, and then all of a sudden they're just poof gone. And people telling me they didn't exist. No, that's impossible. It's impossible. Because I own the stuff that's got them. What do you mean to tell me that this wasn't part of what your company used to look like before you changed the logo? It's ridiculous. Again, it's innocuous. It's not really pressing. It's not important. But doggone it, I'm not about to look like a fool. I'm not about to look like a fool because of it. If I know what I know, and I know what I know, at least in that regard. So yeah. And so I'm like, it's ooh. I personally love Ancient Aliens. It makes me, I believe that means lose sleep. I don't like flat earthers. They're too aggressive. Well, if you're flat earthers, most likely there's too much mounting evidence that the flat earth is indeed a facade. There is too much. There are tests you can do in your own home to show you that yes, the earth is not flat. There's historical records of these specific points in time at which this discovery was discovered, validated, continued to be validated, and pictures from space, actual astronauts taking pictures of the earth being round. Horizons are the reason why. It's one of the biggest examples of why the concept of a flat earth is not a concept, the concept of a round earth is not a concept, it's a reality. If you like, asking questions is not bad, but denouncing evidence that is right in front of you, that is undeniable, that is indeed fact-checked by thousands of people, that their whole job is to find this one specific answer. And you mean to tell me then that it is, and even then they give you tests that you can do in your own vicinity to prove to you that yes, this is indeed right, and you then keep on saying that it's a blase? No, that's a problem. That's a major problem. That's like you don't want to be wrong at that point. At that point, you just don't want to be wrong. And it's and again, what we love about science, you can question everything. Loved it. You can question everything. We want you to question everything. Question the fabric of the universe. Learn the mysteries of our existence. We love that. That's what makes science so intriguing. I love science. I love learning about new things. I love about space. All of that. Space, gravity, stars, all of it. It is fascinating to me what this universe has to offer. But to then go and want to keep on being wrong because you just don't want to believe when the evidence is not just given to you, but it's fact-checked and proven. And I can't rock with that. I can't rock with that at all. That's just that's wee. Mega it's frustrating. I'll put that kindly. It's frustrating, just to say the least. But with all that being said, I think it's time to wrap it up, and we got to go because I got to get some stuff done also for this weekend, for next week. So sadly, we got to end this show. But we've had a great time. We've had a phenomenal stuff. We've had a phenomenal conversation. And it's been great on the whole. And I can't wait to do it with you next week also. I guess we'll put out a poll whether or not I call this fight with Keyshawn Davis and Usyk on Friday. And we'll leave it up to you all to see if it happens. But regardless of which, we got stuff to do, we got stuff to cover, and we got to get on out of here. So with that being the case, this has been another episode of The What You Put with me, John Lee Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. I appreciate all of your support. Again, please leave a like on the stream before you leave. Absolutely, we've talked about Usyk, we talked about Tank, we talked about Keyshawn Davis, Teofimo Lopez, all this stuff and more we're going to discuss, no doubt in my mind, and in the weeks to come, and in the days to come. We still got fights to come. We got Bevo versus Betty B. We got Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. We got Big Bang Jane versus Caballero. We got so much more coming down the pipe this month and in the months to come, absolutely, and I can't wait to cover it with you all. I've been John LeGuach. Y'all have been wonderful. We will see you all next week. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Can't wait to talk to you all again. We'll put out a poll whether or not you want me to stream the fight with Keyshawn Davis and Usyk. We'll get out of your hair. We'll end in the show. Great show. See y'all next week or potentially tomorrow, and we'll catch y'all later. Peace and love. We out.